In this lecture, we will dive into the concept of queues, their significance in RabbitMQ, and why understanding queues is crucial before starting with RabbitMQ. After that, we will explore the concept of queues in general computing and programming languages to give you a broader perspective on how they are used in various domains. So, what is a queue in RabbitMQ? Well, at its core, a queue is a data structure used to store messages in RabbitMQ. In the context of RabbitMQ, a queue holds messages that are sent from producers and delivers them to consumers. Producers send messages to an exchange, and we will explore exchanges in a later lecture. Producers and consumers can be applications or systems that send messages or receive messages. The exchange then routes those messages to the appropriate queue based on routing rules. Finally, consumers retrieve messages from the queue to process them. Queues are essential because they act as the buffer where messages wait until they are consumed, ensuring reliable delivery and decoupling producers and consumers. So, why are queues important in RabbitMQ? Well, RabbitMQ is designed for asynchronous messaging where messages are processed in the background, allowing producers and consumers to operate independently. Queues play a central role in this by temporarily storing messages until consumers are ready to process them. One of the main reasons for using RabbitMQ is to decouple producers from consumers. A producer doesn't need to know who the consumer is and how many consumers there are, or when they will process the message. It simply sends messages to a queue. Similarly, consumers don't need to know the source of the messages or how many producers there are. This abstraction simplifies the communication between components. Queues ensure that messages are not lost. Even if a consumer is down, the message remains in the queue, and when the consumer becomes available again, it can consume the message. By making queues durable, you can ensure that the messages are persisted to disk and will survive server crashes. How to make a queue durable? That is something that we are going to cover later on in our lectures when we will be creating queues and playing around with them. Queues enable you to implement load balancing. Multiple consumers can listen to the same queue, distributing the workload evenly among them. This allows RabbitMQ to scale horizontally, processing high volumes of messages in parallel. RabbitMQ ensures that messages are delivered at least once. Queues help ensure that messages are stored safely until a consumer processes them. Now, why do we need to understand queues before starting with RabbitMQ? Well, RabbitMQ's entire messaging system is built around queues. If you don't understand how queues work, you will struggle to effectively use RabbitMQ. The producer-consumer model, message acknowledgement, and routing all revolve around queues. Knowing how queues function will allow you to design more efficient systems. You'll need to decide on how to configure queues, whether they should be durable or non-durable, whether you need exclusive queues for single consumer usage, or whether to use dead letter queues for handling failed messages. RabbitMQ's flow control mechanisms such as back pressure and message TTL all rely on how messages accumulate in queues. Understanding these mechanisms will help you manage the flow of messages in your system. By understanding how queues store and manage messages, you will be able to configure RabbitMQ to tolerate various kinds of failures. For example, network failure, consumer failure, or server crash, and guarantee message delivery. To give you a broader perspective, let's now explore how queues are used in general computing and programming languages. Let's explore queues as a data structure. In general computing and programming languages, a queue is a linear data structure that operates on the first in, first out principle, the FIFO principle. According to the FIFO principle, in a queue, the first element added to the queue is the first element to be removed. That's why it's called first in, first out. Think of a queue in real life like a line at a bank. The person who arrives first gets served first. Simple. Now there are many types of queues, so let's cover a few of them. First, we have simple queue, a basic queue that follows the FIFO principle. Next, we have circular queue, a queue where the last element connects back to the first, making it circular. Next, we have priority queue, a queue where each element has a priority. Higher priority elements are dequeued before lower priority ones. And finally, we have double-ended queue, also called Deque, a queue where elements can be added or removed from both ends. Queues are commonly implemented using arrays, linked lists, or circular buffers in programming. Queues are used everywhere in technology that surrounds us. Queues are fundamental to the scheduling systems of operating systems, and here they are used to manage processes and threads. Some examples include job scheduling, where operating systems maintain queues to manage processes or jobs that need to be executed. Each process gets added to a queue and is scheduled for execution based on its priority and availability of resources. Another example of scheduling systems and queues includes I/O buffers, input-output buffers. Queues are also used for managing data in and out of the CPU. Here, queues are used for managing data in and out of the CPU. For example, in case of disk I/O operations or network requests. As data comes in, it gets queued and processed by the system in the order it arrived. In multi-threading and concurrency, queues play a key role in managing communication between threads or processes. Consider the following scenarios. Producer-consumer problem. This is one of the classic problems in concurrency where a producer creates data that is consumed by a consumer. The data is stored in a queue and the consumer retrieves it for processing. Another scenario for multi-threading and concurrency is task scheduling. In a multi-threaded environment, threads may place tasks in a queue and worker threads pick up tasks from the queue. This helps load balance the work across available threads, ensuring efficient use of resources. And now that we have discussed queues in general, we can connect the idea to RabbitMQ. Queues help ensure that messages are processed in an ordered manner. In RabbitMQ, the FIFO nature of queues ensures that the first message to arrive is the first one to be processed, which is essential for many real-time systems. In RabbitMQ, queues allow multiple consumers to process messages concurrently. By distributing messages to different consumers, you can parallelize the workload, improving the efficiency of your system. Queues allow RabbitMQ to handle situations where consumers are slow, busy, or fail. Messages can stay in the queue until the consumer is available to process them. This decoupling of producers and consumers enhances system reliability. In RabbitMQ, every queue is typically represented by an Erlang process. Each queue in RabbitMQ is managed by a dedicated Erlang process. This process is responsible for handling all the operations related to that queue, including storing messages, managing message delivery to consumers, and handling acknowledgements. Since Erlang processes are lightweight and run concurrently, RabbitMQ can efficiently manage many queues, each with its own process. Now let's come to the messages in those queues. Messages are not represented as separate Erlang process. Instead, they are data stored in the queue's process. The messages are kept in the memory or disk depending on whether the queue is durable, and the Erlang process managing the queue is responsible for organizing and delivering them to consumers. And next we come to concurrency. RabbitMQ's use of Erlang processes for queues allows it to handle many queues concurrently, each with its own independent state and processing logic. Multiple queues can exist within the same RabbitMQ instance, and each one runs in a separate Erlang process, allowing for high concurrency and fault isolation between queues. So to summarize it, in RabbitMQ, it's the queue itself that is represented by an Erlang process, not every individual message within the queue. The Erlang process managing the queue handles the messages stored in it and ensures they are delivered and processed according to the queue's configuration. Overall, in conclusion, queues are a fundamental concept in RabbitMQ and many other messaging systems. They allow for asynchronous processing, decoupling of components, reliable message delivery, and scalability. Before diving deep into RabbitMQ, it's essential to understand how queues work in general computing and programming because RabbitMQ heavily relies on queues for its operation. With this foundational knowledge of queues, you will be better equipped to design and configure RabbitMQ for your messaging needs, ensuring that your systems are scalable, reliable, and efficient.